All right, we're now live on Facebook. I'm John O'Brake. I'm here as usual with my beautiful co-host, May King. How are you, May King? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Jono.
We are back. I was just sharing with the guys. I don't know how much came out on Facebook Live, but I was just sharing with the guys. I said, I feel like I'm still in that zone between Christmas and New Year where I don't know what time of the day it is, what I'm going to eat next, what day of the week it is. but we're back and we're on board, and the year is definitely underway. It's shaping up to be a fun one, right, guys?
Absolutely.
But most of all, and making, I'm going to let you introduce Shelley this time, and because I know you've had some interactions with her as well. But yeah, making, take it away.
Well, to kick off 2021, we've got the fabulous Shelley Hutchinson. Shelley and I met a couple of years ago. We were doing a course together, and I've been admiring her from afar for a while. She is a LinkedIn expert before LinkedIn was a thing. She's one of the OGs, and here she's going to be talking with us to do a little bit more of a deep dive on LinkedIn for professionals. So welcome, Shelley. Happy New Year.
Oh, Happy New Year. Great to be here as well. Thank you for inviting me back.
So you're a bit of a well, you know, this is your second. So I think the only other person that's had a second interview on the Fireside Chat is our friend over in California. And so I don't know if I should mention her name live or not, but she may not want to. But it's so this is a great privilege. You are a veteran of the Fireside Chat, and so last time, and we'll make a link available in the bio to the other video so they can see some of the other conversation, because we went into a whole range of stuff and then just touched on the end, which at the end of the day we want to be able to promote your LinkedIn challenge, which is an amazing program on how you engage LinkedIn. So today here we are on Facebook Live talking about LinkedIn, and So let's just start out. What are some of the challenges that you see businesses have with LinkedIn?
I think the major challenge that a lot of businesses have when it comes to LinkedIn is just not knowing how to use it effectively as a tool that helps them to gain business, to gain clients.
Right.
I think that's the biggest challenge that I see, because LinkedIn is actually quite easy to use. It is a lot easier than other platforms, and it's actually a lot easier to get working for you in terms of generating business through and customers than any of the other platforms. And it's free, so it doesn't cost you anything to be able to get business. You can use ads, but personally, most of what I do with my clients is all organic approach because it works so well just that way. So that I would say is the biggest challenge. But once you know how to use it, you start flying, and you never go back, as they say after that.
Now, why do you think it's so popular? I mean, it had a resurgence in the last sort of 6 to 9 months or so. Why do you think that people are suddenly looking at LinkedIn again?
Yeah, I'd say that probably it's been slightly even longer than that. I'd say even it's a bit over a year that we've seen LinkedIn start to grab people's attention. I mean, Gary V was very helpful. Gary Vaynerchuk was very helpful in just highlighting to everyone that LinkedIn is on this new online marketing wave. But there are a few key factors. One is that Facebook ads became a lot more expensive. So that kind of started off in 2017. We saw Facebook ads becoming a lot more expensive then. And really also we started to see, a lot more uncertainty. There's a lot of change economically in different countries in the world. And of course, you want to try and get hold of those really high caliber clients, the ones that don't quibble about your price and they can just afford to work with you. And to get to those people, LinkedIn is the best platform to get to them, especially if you work with corporates. You're not going to get decision makers in corporates on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. They're just not there, but they are on LinkedIn. So I'd say that that's part of it, or a couple of the reasons why we've seen LinkedIn just sort of skyrocket. I think the other reason is we have to take into account that Microsoft took over LinkedIn a few years ago, and whilst they have brought LinkedIn more up to date, but the good thing is they haven't lost the integrity of the platform, and I think that that's really important to say. Whilst they've made it easier for you to use to generate business, to grow your network, and actually to generate business through LinkedIn, they haven't lost the integrity side, And that's valuable because it means that people feel comfortable on LinkedIn. They feel comfortable using it as a place to do business, but also they feel comfortable responding to people. So yeah, you know me, I can wax lyrical about this. So I think I'll stop stop what I'm saying there and let you let you come in.
Sure. Yeah. Look, I mean, that's fantastic. I think, there's been a lot shifting and changing. I mean, if we'd all known what was going to happen last year, we would have gone and bought out shares in Zoom, right, this year.
Absolutely.
but a lot of people have talked about, how they've used online, obviously being either caught at home or in much smaller groups and environments, and they've really used a lot of platforms. But you're right. One of the things we've seen is LinkedIn, and the concern I always had with LinkedIn, and we talked a little bit about this last time, was that it feels like you're not having the same traction. Like in Facebook, you seem to get your instant like. So there's those kind of instant communities. Instagram's the same, but it feels like you're not getting that traction. But you're saying that you actually are. So how do we reconcile that?
And again, I'd say that's just a lack of understanding about how LinkedIn works as opposed to Facebook. So one of the reasons, Jonathan, if you don't mind me kind of...
No, that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for, please.
If I can go into the psychology of what's going on.
Yeah.
So the Facebook like button was invented because the developers wanted a way to keep people addicted to Facebook.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of features on Facebook that have been developed to try and get you to stay on the platform, and also features that try and get you to actually feel addicted to being on the platform. And when you said, I feel on Facebook I'm getting kind of more recognition for what I'm doing because of the like button. Facebook, if they were listening to this, would be going, yes, we rocked it. That's exactly what we want. Because basically it's in the same with Instagram. The more likes you get on Facebook or Instagram, if you put a picture of yourself up, people take that and they feel good. They feel like, yeah, it can be like a self-worth thing.
Yeah.
But it can also be just like, wow, I feel like I'm actually getting traction. People are listening to what I'm saying. If you're a business owner, that's kind of where you take it. The thing with LinkedIn is that what LinkedIn is great at is building these one-to-one relationships. It's not really about broadcasting. Yes, we have the organic reach and we have the ability to share content. And yes, you are broadcasting effectively when you do that. But it's much more, I feel, a tool where the massive benefit comes in when you treat it as a tool where you can build these deep relationships with your ideal clients. And a lot of that is one-to-one. And some of that is also one-to-many with the content sharing side. But even in the content sharing, in order to really get that off the ground, you want to spend a bit of time engaging with people, engaging on other people's content. It's not just posting your own and waiting for people to love your content. It's actually engaging with other people as well on theirs. So you can see it's just the whole way that we want to approach LinkedIn. Is not to imagine that it's going to be the same as Facebook, but to see it as the strength of it is actually that you're going to develop much stronger, much deeper relationships with your ideal clients than you would on Facebook.
One of the things I often talk about when I'm delivering training programs on social media is to create content for the lurkers. And in fact, this very morning, I actually had a phone call from someone I have not heard from in over a year, but she's been watching a lot of the stuff that I've been doing on LinkedIn. So just how important is it to, like you said, create content, and also in building relationships about people? It's not just about producing content, it's also about commenting on other people's posts and sharing their posts, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like exactly what you've done. You were thinking about your audience as you're creating content, and you're thinking about what's going on for them. I do the same thing when I have calls with people and I see like there's a theme coming up here. A lot of people say are coming onto calls and they're saying to me, I'm really nervous about investing again because I've been bitten previously. I've invested before and it kind of didn't work out. And so that makes me think, well, I'll create a video about, how it is to like feel as though you've been bitten by making an investment that didn't work out, but how to get over that, how to move on from that to find the right mentor. So I did that in practice. And of course, one of the people that had been on a call with me who was saying exactly that to me, when they came onto the follow-up call, they say, I saw your video, it was amazing, it really helped me. And it's like, so it can be beneficial as you're doing calls with people, but also, of course, there's a lot of other people feeling the same way in your audience. So you're absolutely right. It's really listening to what's going on for your audience and creating content and sharing that content. And, you know, I love the fact that you said that this lady was a lurker and she came out of the woodwork. She actually, your content brought her forward.
Around LinkedIn.
That's what we want to see.
Yeah, we're all lurkers, really. We all sort of have a bit of a nosy to see what our peers are doing, our competitors, and all the rest of it. So, but also more importantly, our prospects are also watching as well.
Yeah, it is interesting to see the number of people, you know, that now you mention it, that have either had a conversation like, oh, I saw you doing this now for work, or doing that. It's like,
It does work. It does work. I mean, that's all feedback, you know, so it may not be that they're pressing the like button or they're leaving a comment every time, you know, especially on LinkedIn. You know, it doesn't actually, a lot of people have this misconception that they've got to get thousands and thousands of views on all their content for it to be working and people to be seeing it and having a reaction. Actually, some of my content's only had like 300 views on it. And yet I've had people either inquire through that piece of content saying, hey, I'm interested in working with you, or I've had it come up in conversation later with someone who's come on a call, or, you know, and like you said, Jonathan, you know, another person saying, hey, I saw that, you know, I saw what you said about blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's not always getting caught up in the vanity of the numbers. I try and say that to people. It's always about consistency of sharing content, just being consistent with it and showing up, as opposed to always trying to get like thousands and thousands of views. Because there's a difference between creating content that gets you tons of engagement and creating content that gets you inbound leads. And this is something that people don't understand.
That was going to be my next question is, well, what kind of content? Like, okay, so because we've obviously got, this is like creating a marketing plan, right? I work on this kind of 4-part thing when it comes to tactics, strategy, brand tactics, lead generation, sales processes, and relationship maintenance. It's part of my marketing program. And so I think about all my marketing at all levels there. So what, I guess the short question, I'm really bad at short questions, is, and I'm making, and is, you know, what kind of content?
Yeah, so if you want content that's going to drive inbound leads, then the key piece of content for that is what I call a problem solution piece. And so with a problem solution piece of content, and you're going to do this formula again and again and again, usually I will do it either as a text post, or it can be a video, or it can be an article. At the moment, the things that are getting most engagement are text posts and videos. So that's what I focus most of my time on. With the problem solution post, what you're doing is you take a key problem that a lot of your ideal clients have. They know they have that problem. They don't know what the solution is. So you basically create the content saying, are you struggling with? And then you mention the problem. And then you go into how you connect with them about it. So like, you know, it's really understandable, and then you say who they are, struggle with this problem, and here's why. And you say a little bit about yourself and how you've been helping people successfully overcome that problem, and that creates kind of reassurance and it creates a bond. And then you go into what the solution is. Now you just give them a piece of the solution. You don't give them the whole solution because you want to leave them wanting more. So I can convert that into like a few tips, like 3 key tips. And again, it's just a sentence each time. And then you give them the call to action, which is, if you're struggling with this problem, why not book a discovery call with me, and I'll be able to give you some suggestions about how you can overcome it. And so in that piece of content, and you can read it and do it as a video, or you can do it as a text post, you're basically taking people from problem to solution to call to action. And when you do that, it's very, I mean, you can see already, it's super simple. This is going to generate inbound leads. This isn't a piece of content that's going to necessarily get like shitloads of, pardon my French, sorry. I don't know.
It's French, they have some horrible language.
It's January.
Obviously, we don't know what day of the week it is.
But, you know, it's not necessarily going to get you a ton of engagement, this piece of content. But that's not the aim. It's going to get the right people who are your ideal clients to contact you and ask you for help. And basically they'll first of all ask for a discovery call, but at least they're coming through from your content to you, and it's pulling your LinkedIn connection through onto calls with you.
Wow.
And this strategy works on Facebook as well, by the way. So it's not a only LinkedIn sort of strategy. It works across all the platforms.
Beautiful.
Now, you talked quite a bit about inbound leads. So that's, creating content. Some of the content will be, call to action based. Some of it will be, people getting to know you as a person and as your business. Now, controversially, I've seen lots of other LinkedIn experts out there who kind of dismiss one half of the equation, and that's something that you really you really thrive on, which is the outbound leads as well. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so with LinkedIn, you essentially have two different funnels that you can get working for you to get you leads through LinkedIn. One funnel, which we've been talking about a lot just now, is the inbound leads, where you post content on LinkedIn and your LinkedIn connections see that content, and then they contact you saying they want to work with you, and they maybe message you, or maybe they book directly. If you've got a call link, they book directly in for a call with you. The other side that is a real strength of LinkedIn that you don't really get on other platforms in the same way is the what I call outbound lead generation, and getting that outbound sales funnel in place. And with that outbound side, what this is about is you connecting with your ideal clients on LinkedIn and sending them a sequence of messages that start the relationship between you and them, but also ask them if they're struggling with the problem that you can typically help clients with, and invite them to have a very valuable call with you where you're going to share some suggestions and help them overcome that problem. And that can then get appointments booked in, and this can be really fast. So this can, you can just start your LinkedIn funnel like on the Wednesday, say, and by Thursday or Friday, you've got calls booked in with your ideal clients. So you're not waiting in the same way as you are with inbound leads. You're not waiting to warm your audience up with lots of content, sharing content every day or every few days to warm them up, and then eventually they start coming onto calls with you. You're actually giving yourself the potential to get those appointments on demand. So I'm massively in favor of this. It's part of the strategy I teach my clients, and I've found that this has been a great way for new entrepreneurs or people just starting out on LinkedIn to get fully booked with appointments with their ideal clients in just a few days and start picking up clients. So from my standpoint, I see it as a very central part of the overall strategy, and one that people want to do.
Yeah. So what, again, I'll come back to the nuts and bolts stuff. So in terms of outbound, what kind of, you say sending messages and things like that, is this private messages, or is it just stuff you're putting on your wall, or is it something then you come, how does that work?
Yeah, so it's actually private messages. Mm-hmm. So this is where I was talking earlier about how LinkedIn really is about relationship building, mm-hmm. and a real strength of it is not a broadcasting platform. It's actually much more the one-to-one side, mm-hmm. of what you can do on LinkedIn, the direct connection between you and your ideal clients. And this is exactly where that direct connection happens. You basically request to connect with your ideal client, and at that connection point, you can put in a small message. So just at that very early stage where you haven't even got a connection yet, you can put in a small message, and that message could lead you to get an appointment with them, or it could just start building the relationship. And it really depends on your audience as to whether you ask them for a call at that point, or whether you just focus on just getting the connection and starting to build the relationship. And then you've got, obviously, once your connection, you can just send them as many messages as you want. But usually what I do with my clients is have a follow-up message in place. So once they've accepted your connection request, but they haven't replied to you, then you might send a follow-up message. And that follow-up message is longer because you have more characters for it. Then you can put in the small message that goes with your connection request. And so you can talk a little bit more about, who your ideal clients are and what they typically struggle with, and just see, are you struggling with the same kind of things? And if you are, I'd love to carve out some time to have a chat with you if you are. Just very simply, that then generates the appointments.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah,
it's so easy,
just
isn't it?
beautifully. I mean, it's beautifully practical. Sorry, Mei King, but it's just beautifully practical. We love practical and simple, right?
Yeah, it's super simple, and I think people really overthink it, or they think it's got to be this complicated thing. I mean, it's a funnel that really isn't a funnel, in my opinion. Having taught Facebook funnels for a long time previously to being on LinkedIn, you know, Facebook funnels are complex and they take ages to set up, and they involve a lot of tech and ads, and you know, whereas this LinkedIn funnel is you know, a child can do it. It literally is that easy.
Now, what would you say to, I've had conversations with people in the past who say, I haven't got time to reach out to, you know, thousands of people. I know I need to do it. I need to bring them into my funnel. But I just don't have the time to do that. What are your thoughts about that? What would you say to someone who raises that objection with you, Shelley?
Well, I think it's a really interesting objection to make. You know, do you have time to take on clients is what I would say in response. Because, you know, if you don't have time to take on clients, then yeah, clearly there's no point in marketing yourself. Marketing should be, as any business owner, marketing should be the first thing you do every day.
Right.
That you know, I'm a marketer, yes, but as a business owner, marketing should be the very first thing that you do. Now, it may not be you doing it. If you've got a team, you might have someone else doing it for you. But it should always be the priority in your business, because if you are not generating leads for your business on a consistent basis, then you're not creating clients. And if you're not creating clients, you're not creating an income. And if you aren't creating an income, you have a hobby and not a business. And what a lot of people have been caught out by over 2020 with the pandemic is that they've had a business running on referrals only. And they've not been creating those consistent leads coming into the business. So yeah, they might have been turning over, they might have been turning over several 100,000 in some cases. I've had some, you know, even some people are turning over 500,000 just off referrals. Okay, but they've dried up last year because those companies that were working with them stopped their budget for coaching, for training, for like all these different areas, for marketing. They stopped their budget, and so immediately they're like, we have no way of marketing ourselves. We've never done it before. We've not got leads flowing into us. And so overnight they lost their income.
Yeah.
And so what I ended up doing was turning around these businesses, getting their lead generation in place and helping them to generate new leads. But obviously you're doing that from the back foot, you know, from the foot of we've had no money coming in for 6 months. It's a difficult place to do it from. Whereas if you take the approach as a business owner that one of my primary jobs is to make sure there's always a flow of leads coming into my business, even if I'm fully booked with clients, can, you know, keep on going. Yeah, you may switch it down a bit, switch it off, maybe even for a bit, but that you always have that sales funnel in place, that pipeline that can bring you new clients, that you can switch it back on if you need to, or switch it up. You know, that, I mean, this is about freedom. It's actually not just, I get a bit carried away. It's not just about having a sales funnel in place. If you know at any time how to create a living, which is basically how to create leads, if you know how to do that for your business, you never have to worry about what's going on in the world, whether there's a pandemic, whether there's an economic disaster, whether, you know, like we've had the World Trade Towers collapse, like, you know, going back, and that caused an economic disaster at that point. It's like, you know, irrespective of what's going on, if you know how to do that marketing strategy, how to create leads for your business, you never have to worry. You're never in a place where you're like, where am I going to get my next client from? Where's my income going to come from for the business?
So yeah, because I mean, there was that fundamental shift this year. I agree, and I think the other piece of you know, just the referrals drying up is that a lot more people did seem to start moving. Obviously, we had to move online. You know, we couldn't go to networking events anymore. Yeah, and even networking events moved online for whatever that was worth. But so as part of that, if you just kept doing what you're always doing, you were left behind by the crowd that actually moved on. So so in terms of just this whole LinkedIn kind of journey, what are some of the success stories you've seen this year that are a result of the conversations you've had with people?
Oh, amazing. I mean, like, you know, for me personally, with my clients, of course, the turnarounds have been really impactful for me. So the clients that have come to me around, you know, sort of late summer last year, no income for 6 months, even the clients that came a little sooner as well when the pandemic hit, and then seeing, you know, I've had no income for several months, whatever it is, and then we get their funnel set up and they've got clients, they've got income coming back in, you know, the stress is off them, they're sleeping at night again, you know, that for me is what this is all about. The other success stories that I've loved have been my new entrepreneurs. So I've had a lot of business owners starting their business during lockdown last year, and actually seeing them just flying. I mean, all different types of business owners, I have to say. You know, I've helped a franchise consultant get his business off the ground. He's absolutely flying it. I've helped lots of coaches, obviously, lots of consultants as well, but completely start from scratch, and they've got established businesses, and they did all of that during lockdown, you know, picking up 5 to 10 clients every month, and that's what we're talking about here, you know. So
and you're saying it with a smile on your face, so I know it's true. So
it's exciting. You know, and a close friend of mine who I also helped with LinkedIn, I think, you know, her business this year, she set up a new business. She did 2 different pivots in her business. And I'm just really excited about where her business is going to go this year. I mean, it's a 7-figure new business that she's set up, and she's been launching it through LinkedIn. So
beautiful.
It's, you know, and that's, for me, that's what motivates me. It's like, I'm all about just, if, you know, I want people to have that freedom, and that's, you know, that's what it's about, really.
Yeah.
And it's not just coaches that you've helped, is it, Shelley? You also have helped MLM businesses as well, and people who've just started in business as well. Is that right?
Yeah. So I work with all different business owners, you know, and LinkedIn works for all different business types. So whether you're a coach, a consultant, or a trainer, or MLM, you know, ambassador for an MLM company, I've had quite a lot of them over the last year. You know, if you work with corporates, or you work with individual professionals, or you work with small business owners or mid-sized SMEs, it really works for everyone. Yeah, it's just about getting the right strategy. That's the key thing, you know, knowing how to use LinkedIn to your best advantage for your business.
Yeah. So, but before we jump into, because obviously I want to land it by talking about obviously your LinkedIn challenge, which is starting next Monday. Is that right?
Yeah, we start on Monday.
On Monday?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll come back to that, because we need to understand that a bit more and be able to obviously help you promote that. You mentioned just a minute ago just how, you know, you help someone and they have had a couple of businesses and they're able to grow them and so forth. This is quite common, particularly amongst startups, entrepreneurs, myself included, probably making as well, is that there are a few different things that you dabble in as a business owner, right? So how do you manage that with your LinkedIn profile? Because your LinkedIn profile kind of, you know, is it something that I am, or is it what I do? Do you know what I mean? Because there's quite a few people that do 4 or 5 things.
Yeah, it's a really good question. And I think part of the way to answer it is to say that a lot of people think their LinkedIn profile is static, but actually we're living in an era now where nothing is static. We actually want to update our profile every few months. So if you do more than one thing, yes, you can feature more than one thing in your profile, but it's going to be more tricky when your ideal clients are coming onto your profile for them to really see if that is that the thing that you're really doing, or is it this thing?
Yeah.
And if you're trying to get clients for a particular business, I would always focus on the business that you want to use LinkedIn to get the clients for. So I would put all of the emphasis in your headline and in your about section on the business that you want to get the clients for. And yeah, you can feature the other business, but keep it kind of a paragraph in your about section, and obviously keep it in the work experience entry. But really put the emphasis on the business that you're wanting to get the clients for. If you want clients for multiple businesses, you may need to consider having someone else in your team in one of the businesses actually doing the lead generation. And so their profile is then emphasizing that business. So there are, it's not a great idea to have multiple profiles. LinkedIn doesn't want you to do that. And also that's that's double the work. So we want to try and make it easier. Of course, if the businesses are really related and they've got the same audience, but they're two different offerings effectively, that's much more easy to feature in the same profile. It's where you've got, you know, a cleaning business and a coaching business or something like that, where they can dramatically different, you know, or an MLM business and, you know, and I don't know, a decorating business or something. That's where it's difficult. And I would say, you know, just focus on the business that you actually want to get the leads for.
Great advice. I appreciate that.
So you've touched on the profile, you know, what you want to be known for, and emphasize that. How else can business owners or people who are thinking of starting a business, what else would they do next after they've, you know, put in a great bio, a great company profile? What would be their next step?
So the next step is definitely outbound outreach. So your next step is about building your LinkedIn connections with your ideal clients. You'd be amazed how many people don't do this, you know, because they don't know that this is a step that you need to take. They wait for people to come to them. But actually what you want to do is be proactive, reach out to people who are your ideal clients and message them, talk to them. Don't be kind of like a stranger and hold back. Actually talk to them, start a relationship. Your messages can be actually very much customized to the person you're speaking to if you want, and make it much more conversational. Don't try and make it too templated or formulaic. The more customized they are, the more they speak directly to the people you're reaching out to, the more likely that the person's going to respond. So it's actually just think of it as starting a conversation as opposed to a sort of a marketing strategy. Do you know what I mean? We don't want it to be cold. We want it to be warm and connective.
Yeah, so it's one of the challenges. I'm glad you went there, Mei King, because it's one of the challenges I've had as a coach on LinkedIn is, you know, every day I'll get one or two that are obviously they're outbound coming to me saying, hey, saw your profile, thought it was awesome, you know, love what you do, let's connect. And I've gotten used to the fact now with lots of experience that these guys are just trying to spam me. And so in response to that, you know, because actually before I even met you, I had a good friend of mine in the coaching community I'm involved in here in the US. I had a friend of mine say, he said, yeah, just send a LinkedIn connect to, you know, if you want to connect with CEOs, send a LinkedIn connect to 4 or 5 CEOs a week or whatever, or do a campaign, you know, 3 or 4 a day. And I said, don't they get pissed off about that? Don't they? It's like, yeah, some of them will. But the majority will reach out, and if you never know, out of those people which have really cost you a bit of time, not saying haven't cost you anything in money, you're going to get those 1 or 2 that reach back. That's kind of the model we're talking about here, right?
A little bit more finesse than that. So
yeah, I don't think I described it that well, but
I think there is, you know,
you're telling me my strategy's ugly.
No, I just say that if you just kind of like go, oh, I just want to connect with CEOs and I'm just going to, like, you know, request to connect with all of them, and I'm not really going to care about what they're a CEO of or anything, and I'm just going to like say, hey there, I'd love to connect with you, full stop, and that's it. Yeah, you might get like 1% accepting a connection request. But if you actually go, right, well, why do I want to connect with the CEOs? What's the reason behind that connection? You know, is it that I have something to offer them? And that's okay. If you have something that you think is going to be massively valuable to them, that's important to recognize that, because CEOs get to be CEOs because they see opportunities, right? So they are not as closed as people might imagine. If there's a really good opportunity that's going to increase their business in terms of money or productivity or stuff, they're going to take it. So, you know, I'll actually tell you a story to explain my response to this.
Fantastic.
One of my clients, who is also a good friend of mine, this is the business that she's come up with, a new business, and she reached out to a lot of CEOs of franchise companies. So this is franchisors, CEOs of these massive franchise companies. She reached out to them and just said, I'm putting together an offer for franchisors, and I would love to just be able to have a short conversation with you just to validate my offer and see if it is something that would be of benefit to your franchisees. Do you know how many people said yes to that conversation? And these are guys that are making, you know, possibly millions a year, taking home millions a year in their pay packet. Okay, huge CEOs of all these companies, and you imagine they're going to be so busy. She had about a 20% take up of that conversation. She now has a waiting list for her offer, and she's had the offer of being mentored, and she's picked up a client who she decided to just run with straight off. You know, even though the offer wasn't in place, she actually they were so pleased. And you know, this particular client is a head of a massive property agency, so it's not a small company; it's a massive US company. And you know what, like, it was just because she was honest, she was authentic, she was direct, and she went in with a purpose. She went in, it was really clear, and you know, it's been working incredibly well. And she now has a lot of people who are ready, her franchisors who are ready for her offer.
Yeah.
Isn't that a wonderful way to start up a new business?
Yeah. Yeah, it's brilliant.
It's just simple strategy, but it's a strategy that was done with a real genuineness underneath. So that is a better way of going about it than the approach of, well, I'm just going to just blast out connecting with like tons of these people, and I'm going to just send the same message to everyone. I mean, it's a very similar message that my friend is sending to the different CEOs of these companies, but she is thinking about
enough to personalize it. Yeah.
Personalizing it.
Yeah. And that's that trick, right? We're not, I mean, in fairness to this guy, he didn't say blast out to every CEO. He said 4 or 5 a week, connect with them.
And I mean, and it's good to have the numbers, you know, because you do want, you know, if you kind of go, or I'll just send 1 or 2, and then you get sort of, I'm going to stop there. It's not going to be effective. If you're looking at a 20% conversion rate, it's like with any marketing, you don't expect to get 100%. You know, it's actually about being consistent.
Yeah.
And it's about,
well, because you get better at it as well, right? Because it's part of the practice. You become more fluent. There's a you know, we all understand the psychology behind it as well, the confidence and the ability to carry yourself in those conversations, which does lead me to another point. What do you need to have? I mean, if you're going to start going out and just generating leads, what do you need to have in the back end to make all this work?
Not a lot is the simple answer.
Oh, okay.
A phone is helpful, you know, and an internet connection. But really, all you're doing is you're getting people onto calls with you. We're not talking about people who are going to pay you $100, right? What we're looking for are those clients who are going to pay you thousands.
Right.
So every conversation is worthwhile, because it could be that actually a contract is like $100,000 for you, you know, or it could be 20,000, or it could be 5,000, or it could be 2,000. But it's worth it. It's worth the conversations, because we're not talking about $100 here.
Yeah.
The clients you're going for are the high caliber clients. They're the high caliber, you know, high paying clients that you're looking for your business. So it's worth the time on the calls. So effectively, all you need is just a way of being able to handle the calls. And a spreadsheet. Excel spreadsheet is quite helpful to track your stats and how your funnel is performing.
Love spreadsheets. I mean, they do everything, don't they?
Oh,
I'm working on how to get it to clean the house, but you know, it does everything else. So.
A little bit of AI, and then that'll probably sort
yeah. I'm getting the robotic vacuum soon.
Now, Jono touched upon this earlier, Shelley. Next week, Monday to Friday, you've got the LinkedIn Leads on Tap, Quality Leads on Tap Challenge. Tell us a little bit about that and what's involved and how people can join.
Yes.
Yeah, fantastic. So from Monday next week, for 5 days, basically what we're doing is we're taking a group of probably about 1,500 business owners through our 5-day challenge. It's very straightforward. I break up some daily tasks just into a simple daily task each day. It's no more than half an hour homework each day for you to complete. But through doing that, you'll learn my process for generating leads through LinkedIn. You'll get the outbound, you'll also get the inbound. And at the end of the week, you'll be in a place where you may even have appointments and clients. So that is genuinely what's happened from previous participants. I've even got some people now coming back to me saying, I built my business off the back of your challenge. Which I'm like, do you know what, in this situation, I'm like, that's why I started doing the challenges.
Yeah.
So it's super easy to sign up for the challenge. We take you from, you know, even not even having a LinkedIn account, if you don't even have a LinkedIn account, we start you from that kind of level of basis. Or if you've already been on LinkedIn and you've got a profile and you've been using it, but you just haven't been getting those appointments and clients through it, we can move you forwards to that consistent flow of your ideal clients coming to you through LinkedIn. And it's just to register. I think you've probably got the link, Jono, but it's basically just sign up for clientnectar.com/LinkedIn-5-day-challenge. So yeah, it'd be great to have you guys on board.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
I'm doing it.
And Jono, you're doing it as well?
Sorry?
You're going to be doing the challenge, and you've been telling all your colleagues about the challenge, haven't you?
Yes, I have. So I'm part of a coach community of about 25 odd coaches over here. And LinkedIn has come up a number of times. How do we do it better? So
absolutely.
So,
and you know, you'll love it, because this time around it's pretty much US only, the challenge. I've basically made the times to work for US time zones. So we have my UK folks on there, but we kind of make it all to work for the US time zones as much as possible. So yeah, it's super exciting.
We need all the help we can get over here, I can tell you.
Well, do you know what? Like, I just said to my team, we've been having training sessions ahead of being ready for the challenge. And I said, look, what we're really in the market to do with this challenge, yes, we're teaching everyone how to use LinkedIn, but really what we're doing is we're bringing hope.
Yeah.
It's all about helping people to shift out of too much negative media stuff into a place where they suddenly see opportunity, because there is so much opportunity to grow your business right now. And LinkedIn can help you to do that. And we just need to shift people's mindsets into that place where they feel excited and they know how to do it. And that's what
we're setting ourselves up for the trilogy here. So we'll have you back on to talk about mindset.
I would love that.
This is just the Empire Strikes Back, this episode. So. But yeah, look at the mindset thing, and that does open a whole other can. And we'd love to, I know you do a lot of work in this space, in terms of, even just people now going, well, if I did this challenge, and they'll say, I don't have time, I don't have whatever, but really there's a fear that's underlying that in terms of engaging. Obviously, I don't want to start a whole new subject matter at this point in the interview, because we really want to focus on the fact that we'd love to get people to join you next week. So obviously that means taking action today or tomorrow, or over the weekend, to get signed up and connected. And look, I what I did last time, as I said, I kind of came in a little late, so I just watched the process. So I signed up, but just watched the process. And then this time I'm actually doing it, because I just was so impressed with the way you connected and communicated. And it felt like, I knew it was coming through like a whole process, an automated process, but it felt like I was just getting this really great mentoring one-to-one. So well done on it. It was, so what are some of the, so if somebody says, okay, I don't want to do the 5-day challenge, but I do want to engage with you, or I want to know more about LinkedIn. It's like, okay, well, you need to go through this process first, or is there other ways?
Yeah, there are other ways. You can just connect with me on LinkedIn.
Go figure.
That's super easy. You'll get access to, I'm always sharing content. I share a ton of free content all the time. That was my Christmas, was like, just thankfully I got it all scheduled, so I didn't have to be there to do it.
Beautiful.
I just had it pre-scheduled. But I love sharing content that's going to help people. So I have a YouTube channel, but the best thing is just come onto LinkedIn. Just search for me. It's just /Shelley Hutchinson, and connect with me, and then you'll immediately get all my you see my content on the wall, and from there we can just move you on to all the other platforms. We can bring you into my YouTube channel. There's like 70 odd videos on there, and all that sort of good stuff.
Fantastic.
But start with LinkedIn.
No, so excited, and really appreciate all the effort you've given to us and to the Business in Bare Feet and Sandtrax communities, because it's a desperate need out there. I think it's you've kind of become a mentor without being an official mentor on the page, but we might change that.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And I think, just as a final point, I think one of the things that's happened a lot this last kind of, with 2020, is that people have started to feel that they don't have control over their own lives. A bit like, there's not much information about how if you just take vitamin C, D3 and zinc, it'll boost your immune system and it will either prevent or cure you of COVID. That information isn't really out there so people feel they don't have control.
Yeah.
What I want to say is, you do have control, and you can have control with your business.
So take it back. Yeah.
So
That's beautiful.
That's what it's all about. And Jono, the work you're doing is awesome as well. Like, you just have to say, these fireside chats that you're doing are, incredible. They're inspirational.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. So, Shelley is an example of some of the mentors and so forth that we have in the Business in Bare Feet community. Sandtrax is a free Facebook group. We're talking about LinkedIn. It is a free Facebook group you can join and have deeper conversations with both with us and with the mentors that we have in our community. We have a team of over 25 mentors in all areas of business all over the world that can either teach you about the geography of where you're going if you want to look at overseas business, but can also just give you insights from different perspectives. These are people who have been very successful at what they do, but then today are still in the trenches. So they really understand the pain and what you're going through. And so we'd love you to come along and join us in the Sandtrax community. So if you go to Facebook and look and search for Sandtrax, the other way to do it is go to Business in Bare Feet, and you can link to from the Business in Bare Feet page. We are looking at launching some new programs this year, which is very exciting in terms of around group coaching and getting more focused with the clients that we have and how we grow that. So we'd love to have you along for that journey. So go to Sandtrax on the Facebook page. You can also, if you're on LinkedIn, you can go to the Business in Bare Feet company page. This will be another conversation, Shelley, how we have better conversations on LinkedIn through those sort of more groups and pages. But thanks very much, Shelley. It's been wonderful once again. Really appreciate having you here. Thank you so much for joining us. We will make sure all the links are in the bio, and I'll try and put some here on the video. May King, any parting words?
No, just to echo your thoughts, being in business can often feel like the loneliest place on the planet, but it doesn't need to be when you have an access of, 25 or so mentors from around the world.
Plus us. I mean, what not to love?
Dealing with all sorts of different issues in any aspects of your business. And I do encourage you listeners to join in Shelley's 5-day challenge next week. Yes. It's had a massive impact on my business, both in the mindset and also in the LinkedIn as well. It's free, which is amazing, but you also have a great community and great support from Shelley and her team. So I'll see you there. Jono is going to see you there, and Shelley will be there as well.
And Shelley will be there.
Yeah.
Well, there's a good thing. Shelley hasn't replicated herself just yet.
Not just yet.
She's working on that AI, I can tell you.
There'll be a second Shelley bot.
That's funny. Shelley, anything you'd like to say before we go?
Just want to say a big thank you to you guys. It's like ever, it's fantastic to be here, and just great to have anyone that's tuning in, listening in, and good luck. Take that plunge, come and join me on the challenge.
Yeah, look forward to it. And so thanks very much. We'll sign off from the Facebook Live now, and we'll look forward to seeing you come and have a chat with us, as I said, on either the Business in Bare Feet Facebook page, the Sandtrax group club that you need to connect with, or you can find Business in Bare Feet on LinkedIn, and we'll put all Shelley's links there as well. Client Nectar, love the name. It's cool.
Thank you.
So, all right. Thanks, guys.